Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka back with another Twitter thread. So listen, I've been known to be a little negative in terms of my time on the internet. Today we're going to take a break from our usual haterade and look at some stuff that we actually like about Yu-Gi-Oh! At the end of the day, we do play this game. There's got to be a good reason. Anyway, here's mine. I really appreciate that every deck feels like it gets to do something no other deck does. It's like there's like 100 games in one. You can sit down and expect to play against like Generator, which is all about the field spell, or Kashtira, which is all about avoiding your opponent punching you in the face, or Tearlament, which is all about posting on Twitter. Let's see what you all like. Predictable coming from me, but it's the lore. Golden Nova is the last person on Earth who understands Ice Jade lore. Seeing how the story, art, and mechanics all weave together is interesting. Seeing how the latest Ice Jade Agron Ron works like Longwan because she absorbed Longwan is cool. Major Duncan, absolutely correct. I love how decks have mechanics that are true to their design. Gathering intel as a super agent, serving sushi, moving pieces on a game board. It's excellent. Real quick, I just, you know, I'm not the #1 Suship defender. That is Danny, but I do want to give a quick shout out to the Suship Field spell, which requires you to present your opponent with a recommendation from the menu before they order. The wide range of art styles, says someone with a Blackbeard PFP. There's so many concepts and artworks and so many archetypes. Each deck feels unique gameplay-wise, but also unique art-wise. And would be better if Konami would credit the artist. Hey. Come on. I love how complicated it is. The nuance is what separates this game from others to me. The fact that I need to look up conjunctions makes me feel like I'm learning every time I play the game. Sucks that my favorite part of the game is what kills the earth, though. Caleb has a disease that we in the business call adult homework addiction. AHA. It triggers the parts of his brain that were developed during childhood when he got gold stars to understand what a card like this does. I love the collectible aspect. While Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a make money machine, I actively study Yu-Gi-Oh! Collectibles and find something almost weekly I didn't know existed. A Flame Wingman's Silly String Shooter. How to excite MBT is the Forbidden Flame Wingussie. Oh, god damn it. Adding the link so he can impulse buy it on stream. No. $900. I'm good. I've described peak Yu-Gi-Oh! To new players as one player is trying to play Connect 4 while the other player is trying to get a Yahtzee, but they're playing the same game. Absolutely correct. Idea is carried over to the card art. How are these all the same game? I appreciate that Legacy support is as abundant as it is. The ability for new cards to breathe life into old existing strategies several years after they were getting released is so nice. For the most part, it makes me not regret getting attached to cardboard. It's been very good recently. For a long time, Legacy support made decks snore-inducing. Watch a previous video of mine if you want to see how they keep printing skill drains. But cards like Grapha, Dragon, Overlord of Dark World, mwah, it's exactly what we want. The lack of mana. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you all. Mana probably should not be an integral part of every card game system. The only reason it is because the very first card game ever invented that was good was Magic the Gathering. And as a result, Richard Garfield and his consequences have been disastrous for the card-playing populace. It is only now that we are getting other games that use alternative resource systems that we're like, damn, this like artificial curve-out system sucks balls. Although I will say Pokemon's doing a great job insofar as energies don't mean fucking anything. Like, yeah, imagine a world in which the first TCG is Digimon and we just play with memory for 30 years. The lack of set rotation is something I love. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. These people really think we don't have set rotation. Play Tearlament. My love for Brandon and Harpies aside, the community aspect. I've spent the last 2 years growing a circle of friends, connections with other creators in my own channel. I don't think I'd have found the same reaction in another game. My social anxieties have also improved. Well, good for you, Scarlon. I've found so many more people to dislike. I love that we have sanctioned old formats now. Meatball is literally 12 years old, so like he doesn't know that we suffered. I also love that we have a functioning simulator. Pokemon TCG Live problems.
I should receive 2 prizes right now, but it gives 3 prizes.
Deck building in theory is what I most appreciate in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's so beautiful seeing the different ways people get creative and use text for certain cards in the meta. There's 10k cards in the game now. Who knows if we discovered everything good in a format? I do. We haven't. Almost every single format is unsolved or remotely as developed as it could be. This can be said for most card games, but the ability to have a public gathering space where we can regularly hang out with people is so wonderful. absolutely correct. I would say maybe the most important part of Yu-Gi-Oh! I go on this rant constantly, but if you live in America, we have pretty much paved over anything that could possibly be a place where people get together and hang out with strangers. As a culture, we have instilled a fear of all other people in our daily lives. You know, we've got people on TikTok being like, as soon as you step out the door, you're at risk of being human trafficked. It is really important to be able to have places like this where you are forced by game mechanics to interact with a second person. I am being gang stalked. True. Cards are archetypes that unite entire archetypes, types, or concepts together. BBW, 2, Earth Machine, every warrior ever printed. I really like Beaver Warrior. I like how decks are able to have multiple functional builds. Trickstar Sky Striker, Link Spam, Control, Burn. Despite using the same core of monsters, though through changing flexible spots in the deck, they're all given their own identity. Correct. Hand Traps. As a Pokemon player, it is so refreshing to be able to interact with my opponent instead of twiddling my thumbs as they play their turn. You know, I gotta say, I was not sold on Hand Traps when they first came out, but now I realize everybody having 3 Force of Will in their opener is actually really good. I honestly feel like the limited zones in Yu-Gi-Oh! Do so much behind the scenes. Jules, absolutely correct. I think back to big, congested, fuck you awful boards of a billion different tokens and permanents, and in comparison, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zones keep things fairly uncluttered and limits options in a fair way. I find exceptionally satisfying figuring out a big fuck-off combo using the zones. Doing zone math for me, oh, it's peak. I might need to go get a very particular diagnosis. Something not frequent for other card games is having to actually kill the opponent's monsters by battle to attack the player. Yu-Gi-Oh! Proves that this is one of the best ways to handle combat. I disagree. Like, I think that this is true if there's not a main phase 2. I really like how Konami is just not afraid to reconceptualize a mechanic to fit a deck's theme. Numerelia changing pen from just get scales into using the pen zones and face-up extra deck is a little sleepy waiting zone. I love cards that play with in-game concepts like this. I think it is so fucking funny. Leah was talking to me about it, and she was like, you know, it's crazy that back in the day, you know, the range of things you could do with cards was pretty small. And now a card like Kashtira Birth, which is like the 7th best Kashtira card, just reads, you can normal level 7 monsters for free. Just do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. A favorite aspect is there are ways to play without your opponent. Exodia, Gem Knight, Bish Balkan, FTKs. Not only FTKs, but hand rips like Gumblar. Fuck off. The chain mechanic. Not only can you negate cards on the lower chain link, but you can force a card to not resolve by banishing it, which leads to really interesting gameplay scenarios where cards are used to interrupt specific plays without negating them. People always find this unintuitive, but really I think it's as simple as saying, forget what you've learned about the stack and just learn a second system. There's going to be some weird intricacies to it, but there are weird intricacies to the stack too, and they end up being charming rather than frustrating. Excellent answer. I love how accessible the game is. Online Yu-Gi-Oh! Is basically the only TCG with several consistently updated free online sims, both auto and manual. This is a lot of the reason that I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Online and make videos about it over Magic, because at the time I was doing this, my options were Moto or Cockatrice. God, who remembers Cockatrice? Jesus Christ. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that looks so nice. 22-minute. Oh, it's so good. Oh my god. I've always really loved archetypes whose aesthetic is reflected in their gameplay. It shows how creative Konami can get with card design when they're not limited by a larger universe like Magic or Pokemon. Yes, love this as well. Planet Patrol's captaining ships, Great Magnus combining a bunch of stuff. I don't know what the Valence are because I've never read them. Reprints. Even the most expensive and ubiquitous cards will eventually be printed so many times they're easy to find. Correct! It's funny that at this point, every new structure that comes out, they just throw Ash in. They're like, we know this card is never going to be cheap, so fucking take it again. One of my favorite parts about the game is how little guys like this can be some of the most broken cards ever seen. For what it's worth, he's kind of killing it, right? He's kind of serving. He's got like heals on. I love him. Well, that was sweet. And next week, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled whining. I love how fast this game is, says Dyer. I forget who, but I saw someone compare Yu-Gi-Oh! To a high noon shootout, but you have to build your gun from scratch, except your opponent can throw a pink child at your gun to stop you. This metaphor has completely fallen off the rails.